Welcome back for another video. Today, we're going to be ranking the top 8 wide receiver duos in the NFL. So before I get into this, understand it's the top 8 out of 32. Okay, there are 32 teams. All of these are really good. Okay, we're kind of nitpicking here. Okay, but we're ranking the top 8. Okay, we're going to start with number 8. It's going to be Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Look, Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the game. Okay, and Jordan Addison is expected to be a high-end number 2 wide receiver at worst, okay? And I expect him to be very, very good as a rookie, okay? But Justin Jefferson is built different. Easily the best wide receiver in the game, in my opinion. In all aspects, he can do everything. He's coming off a season where he had 1,809 yards at 23 years old, right? And like I said, Jordan Addison is expected to be an amazing NFL receiver. Having him paired up with Justin Jefferson, having KJ Osborne as the number 3, that trio is really good. And as a duo, they stack up as a number 8 going into this season. I think Addison, with as good as he could be, he could easily help them rank higher after the 2023 season. But going into 2023 season, I'm going to have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison at number 8. Number 7 is going to be Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Okay. Keenan Allen is a high end number 1 wide receiver. Williams, in my opinion, is a high end number 2 wide receiver. All right. Keenan Allen is one of the best wide receivers in the league, but as he gets older, the hamstring injuries continue to pop up and they're concerning. With him coming up with 30 and going over 30 years old, those soft tissue injuries are going to be a problem. Can't just not think about those happening, right? And then Williams, he's always had his injury issues, always had issues staying on the field. But when he's healthy, he's an incredible number 2 option. So, assuming these guys are able to stay healthy, these are my number 7 duo going into the 2023 season. Next up is going to be Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk at number 6. Ridley could be a high end number 1 if he comes back the same as what he was before. And Christian Kirk is a high end number 2. Okay, go look at Calvin Ridley. He had a 1,300-yard season when he was a number 2 option on a team that had Julio Jones. 1,300-yard season. That was back when they were playing 16 games in a season. So he didn't have the added extra game at the end of the season to get to that. Okay, then look at Christian Kirk. He proved that he could hold it down as a number 1 receiver if he needed to. Okay, so when you talk about him, I'm talking about him high end number 2 wide receiver. He is really good. Okay, I don't want to make it seem like I'm on Christian Kirk in any capacity, saying that he's a high end number 2. I know that he held it down as number 1, and that's why I have these two as the number 6 duo at wide receiver going into the 2023 season. Number 5 is going to be Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Okay, Evans is a low end number 1. Godwin's is a high end number 2. Really, the only reason I have them above Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk, and even Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, is availability, right? Even Chris Godwin doesn't get away from availability. Chris Godwin has had his injury issues in the past, but Mike Evans is so consistent, which is why I wanted to put him here. I don't think he's as skilled and as talented as the Devontae Adams and Justin Jeffersons of the world, but he's so consistent. He's been in the league 9 years. He's had 9 1,000-yard seasons. Okay, so when you talk about availability, sure, he misses games from time to time, but he's available enough to have the kind of impact to be in the upper echelon of receivers year after year after year. And then Chris Godwin, again, a high end number 2 as long as he's on the field. All right, the number 4 duo going into 2023 for me is going to be DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Both of these guys are low end number 1 wide receivers, but still number 1 wide receivers in the NFL. Okay, Metcalf could have either hit his ceiling or he could be about to enter his prime where we're going to see him take off. I feel like we see DK Metcalf pretty much where he's going to be, especially with quarterback play. And then Tyler Lockett, he's getting older, but even as he's getting older, he's still putting together 1,000-yard seasons every single season. So it's really nothing to be mad at with Tyler Lockett. It's just, again, I think DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are both low end number 1 wide receivers. Okay, where I think those two are low end number 1 wide receivers, I have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith as high end number 1 wide receivers. Okay, look at last season, their first full season together, they combined for 183 catches, 2,692 yards, and 18 touchdowns. Okay, and those numbers don't match some of the other duos in the league, but that offense also didn't pass as much as some of those other offenses in the league. Okay, the Eagles like to run the ball. Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen, though that offense, they ran the ball a decent bit. So the numbers didn't match up, but these are both elite level wide receivers in the NFL going into the 2023 season, they are the number 3 duo for me in the NFL. My number 2 duo is going to be Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I think Tyreek Hill is a high end number 1. Waddle is a low end number 1. I think there's a good chance Waddle hasn't peaked yet, so we could see even more from him. But Tyreek Hill, I mean, he's one of the best wide receivers in the league. 2, 3, he's up there. So, of course, he's helping that come up. Jalen Waddle is amazing in his own right, though. This pair combined for 3,066 yards last year and 15 touchdowns. They're both lightning quick and create matchup problems every single week. So, week in, week out, every single play every week, they're going to be a problem for teams. And they're going to show everybody why they earn the right to be in the top 2 of wide receiver duos in the NFL. And last but not least, it's going to be Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins coming in at number 1, the number 1 duo in the NFL. These are both high-end number 1 wide receivers. Ja'Marr Chase has 2,500 yards and 22 touchdowns through his first 2 seasons in the NFL. T. Higgins has at least 908 yards in all 3 seasons, including his rookie season when Joe Burrow got hurt early on in that season. I mean, both these guys are available all the time. Both these guys are incredibly talented, and they're both a big part of why everybody thinks the Bengals are one of the best teams in the AFC. So I think it was a no-brainer having Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins at number 1. I would love to know what you think about these rankings. What would you do differently? You let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and keep coming back for more off-season content. We'll see you for the next video.